everyone, how are you feeling today? It's everyone here, and today I'm coming at you with my DDD deck profile. So, yeah, finally, in Soul Fusion, we got this guy. It's about freaking time. So with this new High Genghis in our extra deck, I would say that the deck is a little bit less fragile now. You're able to do a lot more stronger combos, and it's a card that I'm considering like maybe even bumping the numbers that I run right now. But for the time being, for playtesting, I still play him in a particular number for testing. And if I'll see I need him more, I'm probably going to order or get from a friend a second copy, because this one is absolutely ridiculous. This card is amazing. It's helped you a lot. I wish his effect could have been not only in the battle, like your turn, like the negation of spell and trap, but also during your opponent's turn, because if it was the case, DDDs could have been a lot more high ceiling deck. But even so, this ability to stop during your opponent's turn can actually even during your turn, can actually come up during battle phase, which sounds weird, but now with all of disruptions and stuff that your opponent can also throw hand traps during the battle phase or just in general to disrupt your combos, that's actually a really good way to just make 100% sure that your combos go off. So I actually can see this and approve of that effect, but mostly what this guy is for is because, the additional special summon from the grave, which is like his other counterpart. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started, and I will explain you guys my card choices, because this deck is really fun. It's a little bit complex in terms of strategy and, combos, because it's combo-centric heavy, but if you want to pick a deck like this, like combo-centric heavy, and it's very cheap as well, DDDs is my suggestion, because it's a really fun deck overall. It's kind of a pendulum, but not really pendulum at the same time. So starting things off with the monsters, we're going to start with the 3 copies of Kepler. Kepler is your skeleton that you never use, but also he's pretty much what you want to use to link Aribo all the time, because it's really important to summon Link Aribo. It can help you just summon a monster under the extra monster zone, which is actually really important to not summon in the extra monster zone your fusion monsters. And then it's also giving you the ability to search your contract, so it's absolutely important. Next up, you run 3 copies of Copernicus, which is the guy that puts cards in your graveyard, which is yeah, he's also very important, because sometimes there's particular combos that Copernicus is better to start off with, or you can just special summon him from the hand and just dump a Lamia or a Necro Slime or even a Vice Typhoon just to continue your play. So it's really good to have at 3, in my opinion. And then that's pretty much it for them. And then for the big guy, which is probably the most notable guy in every DDD deck, you run 3 copies of Oblivion King Ragnarok. Putting it simply, this is your Monster Reborn. It just Monster Reborn in the scale and Monster Reborn in the main monster zone. And it's also kind of a banish effect, but if you're going first, you almost never use that, but if you're going second, that effect can actually really helps. But you probably wonder to yourself, how the heck, if I'm not pendulum summoning in this deck, how the heck I can actually summon him? Well, there's a particular card in the extra deck. When we'll get to it, I will explain to you guys how that helps. And then we also run 2 copies of Thomas, which is a card that I'm seeing a lot of people strangely run at 3. I don't understand why, because Thomas can either be the greatest extender or the worst card ever in your hand. So why would you like to run more bricks than you can? It's making either better hand better or bad hand worse. Better hands amazing bad hands worse. So yeah, I don't see it useful to run in more than 2, because it's giving you more bricks. It's probably you're mostly using him as effect to pop your Ragnarok in the scale to summon a Ragnarok from your deck in order to go rank 8, but sometimes it's so bad to do, and you just not also have your Surl Slime in the graveyard, because you're focusing on Surl Slime in the graveyard anyways. Thomas is nice, but I think people are just getting way too much over the top and thinking Thomas is amazing and you need to run him at 3, because even in the most centric build to go rank 8, you don't want to run 3 of him. At 2 is more than enough, trust me. And that pretty much does it for the pendulum monsters 11. Now we'll move on to the non-pendulum monsters, which you also run 11. And that is 3 copies of Lamia, which is your tuner. I don't think I need to explain more than that. 3 copies of Suro Slime. Again, I don't think I need to explain. 3 copies of Necro Slime, and then 2 copies of Vice Typhoon to round off the non-pendulum monsters. And Vice Typhoon is pretty much a fusion summon, just like Necro Slime, but only to level 7 or higher DDD fusion monsters. So it's pretty much another name if you need it. So yeah, you only run 2 because you only have technically 2 to 3 targets. I mean, depending on how much you run in the extra deck. So yeah, it's just really not that needed at more than 2. And then we also run actually a hand trap. I don't like to run hand traps all the time, but like there are some decks that need them, and if I can find a space, then why not? I run 2 copies of Effect Veiler. Probably if you want to run Ash, you can put Ash and you have the money for it. I think Ash is way too much expensive still, even though it's got 3 prints. It's still very, very expensive. $30 a copy. I don't think that's normal. So Effect Veiler, in my opinion, almost achieved the same job. And it's just a really, really good hand trap. It's actually probably one of my favorites. Like, even when I played with Ash, I actually prefer most of the time Effect Veiler. In my opinion, people are just way too much overhyping Ash. And my favorite one always will be Effect Veiler, because it deals with every single monster, while Ash can only deal with, like, searching and stuff, which good against spells, but like sometimes you want to deal with the monster's effects specifically. So Effect Veiler, in my opinion, is my favorite. And then that's it for the monsters. We'll run to the spells. So starting things off, you run 3 copies of Gate. It's not a card I need to explain. It's Search for You. It's pretty much what it is. 1 copy of Swamp King, because Swamp King is your fusion spell, additional fusion spell, but well, back in the day, I might say, like, I might have wanted to run more than 1, but now it's actually not that needed anymore. It's like, it's a good card to see it if you don't see your combo pieces, but on the other hand, it's like, it could be a brick if you don't have enough cards in your hand or grave to do anything with, because if you banish way too much, you don't have enough resources to continue, like, reviving over and over, which is one of the biggest issues I have with this deck sometimes, which is, like, I don't have the ability to revive way too much if I use all of my resources in the grave for fusion summons, which is pretty good, but, like, you need to continue recycling the same cards in order to continue your combos. So, you need to be very, very careful. In my opinion, just 1 Dark Contract is okay, and if you banish it with Desires, it's totally fine. And speaking of Desires, I run it at 2. 3, in my opinion, is an overkill, and 2 is more than enough and more than you need. And then 3 copies, of course, of Allure Darkness, because it's your second draw card, and it's pretty much fix your hand, so why not? And that pretty much does it for the draw power. And then for a card that I think, because we're a combo deck, we need to run, I run 2 copies of Called by the Grave, which I still haven't gotten over the fact that this card is at 2 now. I don't understand why. I mean, even if it was at 3, I would run in this deck at 2 because I don't have space, but like, it just... Why did you cut this card down to 2? I mean, I understand it's like maybe against Goki and stuff, but like, Goki and stuff don't even need this. You need something to stop them. You don't really, like, you don't need to kill the rogue decks in order to just stop a Goki deck that you could have killed, or any other combo-centric decks that in the meta that you could have killed in a different way. Like, why take the card that is good for every rogue deck? I just don't understand. I think it's pretty stupid that they put this card to 2, but that's at least my opinion. I think there are a lot of people who will agree with me on that one, but there are some people who might actually say that I'm wrong, but, you know, everyone in his opinions. And there is one card that I actually like to run, and I don't see a lot of people who run. I run 1 copy of Where Art Thou. You don't need more than 1, because you see it, you don't see it, because sometimes you don't have a level 1 on the field, so this is just work when you need to see it, so that's why it's only at 1. And to be honest, I don't really care about taking the 2,000 points of damage if I can make a better board, because it's DDD. So it feels to me like, yeah, you just need the 1. You just need the 1 Where Art Thou. It search for you when you have the Kepler. It can search for you the Lamia, so you don't have to search with the Lamia with your contract. And it's also giving you the ability to, like, maybe even bait your opponent if you need to. So 1 copy of Where Art Thou, it's actually a really, really good card in my opinion, and that's why I run it at 1 as well. 1 copy of Foolish Burial, because you can put your cards in the graveyard where they need to be for your next generic spell, as well as 1 copy of 1-for-1. I don't think I need to explain why this card is good in this deck. 1 copy of Monster Reborn and 1 copy of Soul Charge to be your revival spells. Again, I don't think I need to explain. This is a DDD deck. You benefit from Broke Charge and you benefit from Monster Reborn, and it's pretty much what you need in your deck anyway. And that pretty much does it for the main deck. 40 cards main deck. Hope you guys enjoyed my text. Now we'll move on to the extra deck. And for the extra deck, of course, we start with the new star of the show. We run 1 copy of Flame High King Genghis. Wow, that's a weird name change. Anyway, this guy is amazing. Like I told you guys, when you normal or special summon, you get the additional special summon from Grave, which is amazing. And then, of course, once per turn, you get the negation during your turn, which is, it's kind of nice during battle phase and stuff. And especially going to be nice when we'll get the Gilgamesh, when we'll go to more of an OTK defensive kind of build, where like you can focus on this as well. So like with the Gilgamesh, it's actually going to become really, really good. So yeah, for the time being, you only need 1. I am considering maybe bumping it to 2, but I still think like 1 is more than enough. Next up, 1 copy of the Ark. I don't think I need to explain. It's a level 7. It maybe doesn't do a lot of things, but sometimes you need the level 7. And then to the last 2 fusions, I run 2 copies of original Genghis. Again, I don't think I need to explain why those are good. And that pretty much does it for the fusions. I don't think you need more than that because, yeah, the fusions are okay. You don't need more than 4. I just don't like to run the rest of them because it just feels it catch space. Next up, let's move to the synchros. So for the synchros, I run 1 copy of Alexander and 1 copy of Siegfried. I don't think I need to explain you guys why Siegfried and Alexander are good. They're pretty much a DDD deck, so it makes sense. 1 Meteor Burst, which I don't see a lot of people actually run. There's some people who just, I think it's incorrect to not run this card because it can special summon from use for the scale the Ragnarok, and this is the card that I talked about that can help you abuse the monster effect of Ragnarok as well. So, you know, just run 1 of this in the extra deck for your complete combos. I don't think it take any space, and you know, you do have few spaces spare anyway, so why not? And then 1 copy of Crystal Wing because it's Crystal Wing and it's a DDD deck. And the last one I actually like to run is 1 copy of Siegfried Lord Omega, which I think it's a very, very correct choice. Sometimes you don't want to finish on the Omega, but actually on the Crystal Wing, because if your opponent breaks your board with a Crystal Wing, you don't have the ability to come back. Well, in Omega, you have the potential to not only take 1 card from their hand, but also have the ability to put another card back in your graveyard to future play. So Omega as a one-off is a very, very good card in here, and like it's limited for a reason, and just it's really, really good. It's really helping a deck like this. You need the ability to return sometimes card from the grave, from the banish to the grave, so that's really, really cool, and that's why I like to run Omega in here. So that pretty much does it for the synchros. Now the Xyz. Xyz, 1 copy of High Caesar, 1 copy of number 90, which can be Hope Harbinger, and then 1 copy of Kali Yuga. This one probably going to seem like an oddball, but sometimes in the middle of my combos, I actually find myself, if my opponent stop me in some kind of shape or form, able to go to this one. It's like kind of like your second back plan, I would call him. Kali Yuga is just because it's a heavy storm and it's amazing. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. And then this one because, well, I don't have number 38 yet, but this is also sometimes, I actually like this one better because I feel like monster effects for me specifically are a lot more frightened than, you know, spells and traps, as well as I'm already going to summon the Siegfried anyway. Crystal Wing not always going to be on the field, but this one I want to have the ability to also negate a monster effect, which is really, really important in my opinion. Of course, if you have a Sky Striker heavy deck to face against, I would recommend to run this in Hope Harbinger and pretty much switch your second, I would say, Crystal Wing to another Siegfried or Void Ogre. I just don't know. It's your decisions, but like I like this one specifically because it stops monster effects, and monster effects, in my opinion, are a lot more important to deal with. And then lastly, Link Monsters, Link Haribo, Witch Apprentice, and Deco Talker. I don't need to explain this. I think they're very, very, you know, generically good in this deck particularly, and yeah. So that pretty much does it for the deck profile, and hope you guys enjoyed. This is a pretty much upgraded version of DDD. I really like the way that it's gone now, especially with this one, and I will be more than happy to show you guys a combo or two that I might have come up with, or other people have come up with, and you haven't had the chance to find these videos, and you're subscribed to my channel and you want to see me doing them. I will be more than happy to just let me know in the comments down below if you want to see some combos. I will try to scoop like 2 to 3 videos, 2 to 3 combos, my apologies, and we'll see where we'll get to from it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and then also, you know, if you're already subscribed anyway, put your finger on the notification bell and pretty much be notified immediately when I upload a new video. Until next time, guys, stay safe, and remember, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day. Bye-bye.